Welcome to Beyond the Storm with Selena. Welcome to Beyond the Storm. My name is Selena. I'm your host. And today I have a guest with me named Eric. Eric comes to us with a story of his struggles through alcoholism. His story begins at about age 15, and he really tells the story of how he struggled with the loss of his mother and how it affected him through his journey of alcoholism. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, Eric. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we sat down a little bit before and talked a little bit about your story. Most generally, some of these stories usually start out with childhood trauma, but it sounds like you had a pretty good childhood, and your journey really began with the illness and the death of your mother. So tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I feel like I had a pretty normal childhood. I have a younger brother. We get along great. We lived right outside of Denver, so out in the country. I feel like we had a good childhood. And when I turned 15, my mom, she had gotten cancer about age 13. I was 13 at the time, and by 15 it had got her, and she fought, and she lost that battle with cancer, and that was pretty much what kickstarted my drinking career, was trying to numb that pain and try to run from it, and it ended up just about getting the best of me too.
Yeah. So were you there at the end when she passed?
I was there. I helped her into the back seat of my dad's pickup, and he took her, and they took her to hospice to care, and that was about a week prior to her passing. So I was there about a week prior. Yeah.
Okay. So when you say that kind of jump-started your path of drinking, tell me a little bit about that.
I hadn't drank anything to speak of before her passing. I had a beer maybe here and there, but when she passed, I found that if I drank more, I didn't feel as much.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would drink, I wouldn't say I forgot about her. Never could I ever. But the pain of her not being there went away.
Right.
Temporarily, as we all know,
Right.
never goes away.
Right.
But so I found that I could escape that for a little bit, and then escaping it for a little bit just gradually got worse. It was in the weekends, and then I started drinking after school every day, and then I started drinking in school.
So tell me about drinking in school, because that's not normal for kids.
No, it's not.
So, was it friends? Were you hanging out, or were you drinking by yourself?
Both. We could leave campus for lunch, so I would have a little bottle or something in my pickup, and we'd go to lunch and we'd have a couple shots, or we'd do that. And there was times I actually had brought a little flask in school with me, and I'd go to the bathroom and have a couple shots. No, definitely not normal by no means.
Right.
And that was about my senior year. So she died when I was 15. I would have been I believe a freshman. So I graduated in 2007. So I had a few years of the drinking before it got that bad.
Right. So graduating high school and the drinking continued. Where did the drinking go from high school?
Well, shortly after high school, we moved from outside of Denver to Clinton,
Missouri.
And my dad bought Buxall Marina, and that was where I basically felt that I was able to drink in plain sight, and no one would think I was different. No one would, call me out for drinking. And I was underage. I was 18 when we moved here, and I had already gotten one DWI.
Well, let's back up just a second, because I think we need to paint the picture for the audience. For those that may not be in and around this area, they may not know what that is. So that's going to be at Truman Lake. Truman
Yep.
Lake is a big recreational lake, a lot of fishing, a lot of partying. It's the social lake area for this metropolitan area. A lot of Kansas City goes down to Truman Lake. So Buckshaw Marina was a pretty good sized resort that people would come and eat at.
Right.
Launch boats, fuel boats. What else did they do there?
We had a campground. We had a 100-unit campground. We had
So
hotels.
it was a summertime party environment.
Yep.
So that probably really masked a lot of your drinking, because it was
Sure.
a party environment. Probably wasn't any big deal to see somebody with a beer in their hand.
Not at all. And, I could fit right in. After work, I could go and, go up to the RV park and have a beer with, people.
Anybody.
Anybody. And
Yeah.
they wouldn't care. They'd come and see me during the day. Hey, come have a beer with us. Well, by the time I do that 3 times, I don't even know what's going on anymore, and I've hit the ground.
Right.
And I'm making a fool of myself, and I have to, these people come down the next day and see, hey, there's the owner's son up there making a fool of himself, and that to me, I didn't like doing that, because I don't want to, I don't want to be an embarrassment to my dad, of all people. Yeah. I mean, and that's just what it turned into.
So share with me what one of those evenings might have looked like if you were going to go hang out with the Joneses at their camper. You hang out there. Was that typical? Was that every night? Was that once in a while? What was that?
I'd say it was on the weekends for sure, because that's when a lot of the campers were down. We have seasonal campground, so these people come down Friday night, sometimes Thursday, and they stay all weekend. Well, it'd be definitely Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I could go up there, and my wife at the time, she worked nights, so I didn't have any children at the time, so I felt like
sense.
Didn't have any responsibility.
Right.
I could stay at the campground. I could get drunk, and I could stay in a hotel room if I needed.
It was a lifestyle.
It was easy to do,
right?
And it was
right.
too easy, because being that easy, I didn't see it as a problem.
Right. There's no problem, since how it's convenient. So you just shared that you had a DUI. That happened prior to that?
Yeah. I got, after I moved here, after I graduated, I had went back to Colorado and to visit some friends, and I actually got a DWI, and my dad and everybody was here, so I was all the way in Colorado, and so I got my first DWI.
And nobody to come rescue you?
Nobody to come rescue me at the time. I had some family still back there, and I was able to get out, but...
Yeah. Was that an eye-opener for you? Or was that just a misfortunate event?
I can't really say it was an eye-opener. And
Okay.
in the moment, sure.
Yeah.
I thought, well, this sucks. I just got a DWI. I know I'm going to lose my license. This sucks.
Right.
But the very next day, I was drinking again. So it didn't do anything to me as far as, hey, you might want to slow down. You might
It was going to be an
easy.
expensive speed bump in the road. Nothing more. Okay. Well, and that's, unfortunately, a lot of people have to experience a lot of speed bumps before they figure it out. So you're in Missouri. You're working in proprietary at the Buckshaw Marina. So you have this environment down there that it's a comfortable party environment. You're invited weekends to come hang out and run around with everybody, drink and have a good time in the party environment. What was there a moment where you realized, okay, this is too much, or did that continue?
It crossed my mind that I was drinking too much, but I also would compare myself to other people that I thought that was drinking too much, and for me to look at anybody else and say they're drinking too much, I was no one to say that.
Right. That's taking inventory,
Yeah,
right?
and
before we learned that language, we were taking inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would do that, and I would kind of compare myself. Well, I'm not as bad as so-and-so. up at site 14. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, no, I didn't think of anything of it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I was as bad until it continued in a couple of years to go down the road, and I look at myself in the mirror at night and I'm thinking, you are that bad. Like, you're...
So you did have those internal conversations.
I did.
Okay.
I had a lot of them, and I a lot of shame, looking in the mirror and crying to myself and say, hey, you got to quit, man.
Yeah.
You got to hold it together because you got too much going for you.
Did you have family that was saying any of that? Was there any...
I mean, my dad has always been a huge support with me, and he was definitely telling me, especially after the first DWI, you got to slow down. It's going to catch up to you. You're going to kill somebody or kill yourself in a wreck, and thank God that never happened.
Right.
I never got into an accident drinking and driving, which I did almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a big extended family. My dad has 4 brothers, 5 sisters. My mom has 4 sisters. Yep, 5, 4 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And they all care, and they would all, say, especially after my mom passed and I started drinking, Eric, you might want to stop, you might want to slow down. And I never listened to anybody.
Yeah.
I always would go back to, you're not that bad.
Right.
You're not that bad.
Yeah.
And then the years down the road, I was that bad.
Right. So you were married at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and part of your story includes going through a divorce.
Yep.
So how was your drinking a part of that?
Absolutely. I would say 100%. Like I mentioned, she worked nights, and so I didn't have any responsibility, so I could get off work, find my way home, and by the time she got home, I was already up and gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I could drink, and I wasn't really putting any, time and effort into that part of it. I was focusing more on the drinking part, and I was hiding it, and I was lying and doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing. So that definitely played a part in us splitting up.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that built up more shame. I had everything, it was going great, and from what I thought, and then I basically threw it all away just to get drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. So after your divorce, take us down that road.
I had met my next girlfriend, and we spent the next almost 7 years drinking together almost every day. And she could control hers. She would drink, and we would drink together, take shots, blah, blah, blah. She knew when to quit. Me, on the other hand, I was drinking beforehand. I was taking a couple shots here and there, and she wouldn't know I took those shots on the way home. I'd say, hey, stop and get us a bottle, and I'd get us a 5th, but I'd get 2 shooter bottles. Mm-hmm. So then I'd have those 2. I'd have a head start. Mm-hmm. So then I'm back on the same track I was before, lying mm-hmm. from her and everyone else that doesn't know I'm drinking this much, and also to myself, back to, you're not that bad. Because I told myself that for a very long time.
And now you had a drinking buddy.
Yeah.
So
mm-hmm.
it was probably even harder to say, I need to do something different, because you had somebody that was, whether she could handle the amount of alcohol or how often she drank, she was still willing to party and hang out and do it. So that probably makes it a little tougher too.
It definitely was. And by then, and that was probably like, my dad sold the resort in 2019. Let me back up. So before the divorce, I actually got another DWI.
Okay.
So now I'm 2 DWIs in. I've lost my license twice.
Okay.
And still, I'm not skipping no beats.
Even the second DWI.
No. And I didn't. The first time, I lost my license for a year. The second time was only 1 month. I only lost my license for a month. So Colorado had a little stiffer penalties than Missouri did.
Right.
Regardless, it didn't slow me down. I didn't.
No serious consequences when it's only a month.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just nothing. I mean, expensive 1 month.
Right. Exactly.
But didn't slow me down. And then I fast forward to my drinking buddy, and I just kept on.
So the second DUI or DWI, and then the introduction to a new friend, a female friend that became your drinking buddy. So you were ramping up. It sounds like that you were just
getting started.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So let's continue then.
Well, I don't want to say just getting started, but just getting started on the path to destruction, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking every day, every night, most days. I would start when I woke up, and I wouldn't stop until I went to bed.
Now, were you at the point where you had to drink? Or you get shakes, or have at that point were you that deep into it?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely tell. And at first, I didn't know. I thought, like, you hear somebody say, "Oh, he's got the shakes," or "Look at him shaking," know. And I didn't think, I wasn't putting two and two together until I was the one that had shakes, and I was noticing I can't even hold a pen. I can't even write. I don't want to. And I work in the public, in customer service, where I'm face to face with hundreds, sometimes thousands of customers a weekend.
Yep.
And now I'm trying to hide that even. And that's when another trigger in my head was like, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
You got it. And the only way I knew how to combat that was to drink.
Yeah.
So then I knew I had a problem. I was telling.
Like I have to drink to hide it.
Yes.
And I'm hiding the drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't help. It didn't. So now, and I used to get to work at about 4:30 in the morning. And mind you, I'm staying up till I pass out drinking, which sometimes was later than others. But I was always, the alcohol didn't slow me down. I was always on time. I was very dependable, even though I was getting drunk every night. Sometimes, certain days, I'd be drunk by 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But, I mean, I could do everything. I mean,
you were a high-functioning alcoholic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I've seen those. And, it sometimes it just baffles a person that doesn't struggle with alcoholism. How do they do that? How do they get up and go to work every single day after they've drank themselves to bed?
And I'm not proud of that by no means.
No. No.
There was some mornings, more often than not, where if I did not throw up on my way to work, I felt something was wrong with my body.
Oh, really?
So it got to where I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew exactly how much I had to have to get rid of the shakes. I knew,
You were trying to manage the chaos.
Yeah.
Your body was just in full chaos, and you were trying to manage it, sounds like.
That's what it was, yeah.
So after it ran its course with the girlfriend that drank with you, tell us what happened next.
So, I mean, like I said, we were together for almost 7 years, and I told myself many nights, many mornings, looked in the mirror, you have to stop, because this is not normal. And I told her one night, I said, tomorrow I'm quitting. If I had $1 for every time I said that.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, I'm quitting. You can drink, you can do whatever you want to do, but I'm quitting. So the first night, didn't have any drinks, and she didn't drink either. Second night, no drinks. And my body is doing weird things. It's like sweating profusely, shaking, of course, because I had that every day. But night number 3, everything's fine. I don't want to say fine because I can't exactly remember what was going on, but my body was letting me know you're missing something important.
Yeah.
4th day comes along, everything's good. 5th day, I told her, I'm like, I did it. I told you I could quit drinking.
5th day, I'm cured.
And I had made attempts at not drinking, and everybody would say, oh, well, we've heard that before, Eric's trying to quit again.
Yeah.
Because people come to the marina every weekend, they know Eric will drink with us. And if I say no, we're like, whoa. I said, no, I'm trying to quit. over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I hear the same thing. Oh, we've heard that before. We've heard that before. So no one.
And you're probably dealing with a lot of people who are struggling in their own addiction and alcoholism, and so they're not going to be big supporters of you quitting
Right.
because they don't want to have to look at themselves in the mirror.
Right.
So you probably weren't getting very much support in that environment.
Not from those people,
Mm-hmm.
but from the people that
Care about
really
you.
care.
Mm-hmm.
They would support me every time, and
Yeah.
every time I'd have to let them down,
Yeah.
and that hurt.
I was going to say that probably took a little toll on your emotions.
It did, and like I said, my dad was one of them that I hurt over and over again. My brother is 4 years younger than me, and who am I to be a big brother when he's getting calls, hey, you need to come get your brother. He fell asleep or he passed out again. That weighs on me. It still does today, but
But they showed up, didn't they?
they were there
Yeah.
every time. Every time I let them down, they showed up for me.
Yeah.
So, I after that 5th day, I thought I got this until I started seeing things, and I doubled the second. What the heck was that? And I didn't know what was going on. And me and her, we're talking, and I'm telling her, about these things I'm seeing and hearing, and she didn't know what was going on. I was hallucinating from the withdrawal of the alcohol, and I never knew that would happen. I knew quitting alcohol cold turkey was not a good thing to do, and you're not advised to do that because it
Right.
could be dangerous.
Right.
But I never knew that hallucinations could happen. So here I am seeing all these things, hearing things that aren't there, but I could sit here and, like we are right now, and I could argue that there's somebody standing just behind the curtain or just, over there. And that lasted for 2 days.
Oh, my. So
It
for
was
2 days, you were in 2 dimensions.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So the only thing I thought to do was drink. So I started drinking again to get rid of that. And then I told her, I wasn't drinking like I was just trying to get by.
You were drinking so you could be well.
Yeah, that's a sad way to put it, but that's exactly right. Like, that's what I was doing. I was drinking to be my normal.
And so in the world that we dealt with drug addiction, a lot of people in drug addiction do the same thing. And after a while, they're not getting high, they're just getting well. So it's similar with alcoholism.
It is. I could, definitely see the connection there
Yeah.
and the similarities. But I did that. I got well, as you say. That's a good way to put it. I never thought about that, but that's great. I did that for a month, and then I said, I'm quitting again. So 1 day, fine. 2 days, fine. I said, I got it. Here it is. Day 3, boom. Right back to hallucinating. So it had gotten, I went 5 days and then now 3 days.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened. 2 days of absolute terror. That was the most scared I've ever been in my life.
So describe to me a hallucination. Describe to an audience who's never experienced it or been around it. What was the hallucinations like? Or just tell me what one of your hallucinations was.
Well, I'd say one of the scariest things, and I don't wish hallucinations upon my worst enemy, because I was absolutely terrified, scared, crying in a ball in my bed. And, one of them was I was being chased around my house by a snake, a big snake.
Wow.
And I could lay in bed, and I would feel the covers like press down on me, like the snake is basically on me. And I'm telling her, like, the snake is on me, and you feel something it's like, feel the snake right there. And, thank God I had her with me, because I don't know if I, would have hurt someone or myself just trying to escape what wasn't there. Not only seeing, but I could feel it, like the pressure on me, and like noises. And there was one morning I'll get back to that. But there was one morning I even called the cops because I thought someone was trying to break into my garage outside. So I called them, and obviously there's nothing there. But I look out the window and I see this. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's how bad it was.
That's some real hallucination.
I brought the cops in. They look at me like I'm crazy. Of course, who knows what they actually thought? Maybe I was on drugs. Maybe
right.
Probably not hallucinating. But so back to the snake. I actually told her. I said, if anything happens to me tonight, just tell my dad that this is what happened. The snake got me. Whatever killed me. And that was the most scared I've ever been. And
wow.
I would run like doing circles around my house trying to get away from this thing. And everywhere I went, I'm working with my dad, and I was hallucinating all day. And he had no idea.
Wow, that had to have been tough to be able to manage working and maintaining your normal while you're dealing with the hallucinations.
It was very, very challenging. And that was the most scared I've ever been.
So did you go at that point, now that you're in the second round of dealing with hallucinations, what did you do about that?
Drank.
And so you continued to drink for a while longer? I
just kept drinking, getting well, and I told myself I didn't want to go through that again because
So quitting drinking wasn't worth the hallucinations?
No,
yeah.
It wasn't. So I was drinking just enough to keep the hallucinations away.
Okay.
So at that point, I didn't even care about getting drunk. It wasn't about getting drunk anymore.
So from that point, is that when you went to rehab?
I had it was on one of her birthdays, and we had a big cookout. She was from Louisiana, so loves seafood and all that stuff. So we made some crab legs, which I don't have much recollection of that night at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it got started, if I called or she called or what happened. But the next thing I knew, I was in the front seat of my dad's pickup with him and my brother. And we pulled over on the side of the road, and they said, Eric, you have to get help. And we have a place for you to go if you will go.
So Dad pulled up with an intervention.
Yeah, and later to find out, my brother told me that I was the one who called the place.
Oh.
So I didn't know that. I thought this whole time they set this up for me, but I called. I have no recollection. They booked me the flight. Next day,
So you flew by yourself?
They dropped me off at the airport up in Kansas City, but I got on the plane by myself, still hungover from the night before, because I was terrified. I'm like, I don't want to go here. First off,
right.
This is my only option, I feel like, because they can help me, because if I quit, I feel like I'm going to hallucinate again. Mm-hmm. I may not make it through this one without hurting myself or someone else.
Right.
I didn't want none of that to happen, so I said, this is the only option you got. Who cares? I don't want to, because in my eyes, I look at someone else who had to, before I realized I was as sick as I was and as bad as I had gotten. I think it's going to rehab or anything like that. I feel like the public looks down on you. Mm-hmm. So
there's a stigma with it.
And I didn't want that for myself or my family. Mm-hmm. But I had no option. I had no other choice.
So you were afraid that the Eric getting help, going to rehab, the stigma of that was more difficult than Eric is somebody who's drinking all the time and struggling and in the public's eye while you're drinking. The reality of going to get help and going to rehab was more challenging to you than continuing your drink.
I think so.
Wow.
To me, it was.
Okay.
Now, everyone else...
No, that's great, because that's where your mind was at. That's, and that's the challenge we have with working with somebody, to get them to go to the point of getting help, is that barrier. And that was your barrier, it sounds like.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that person, but I had no other option. I had gotten to the point of I couldn't do it by myself. And had they, that was September 7th, 2021. that was the last day I drank.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me to the airport. I spent 7 days down in Florida. I don't want to say it was the best 7 days I had.
Tell me about that 7 days.
Well, I showed up, still drunk. Went through the intake process. I was matched up in a room with a guy named Joe. I still talk to him to this day. He's one of my best friends.
Awesome.
We do an online meeting every now and then together. It's a really great guy. He helped me a lot through that process. Fortunately, it wasn't his first time there, but he helped me a lot. And I was seeing therapists 3 times a day. I was taking medication, which I knew if I went to rehab or detox, I would have medication. If I did hallucinate, I was in a safe spot.
Yeah.
That's what gave me, I feel like, the strength to just say go.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was in a safe space.
Because you could get over the hurdle of the hallucinations.
I knew I had to stop drinking. And I knew I needed to stop drinking. And I knew I could stop drinking. But my body couldn't.
Yeah.
It didn't want me to.
Yeah.
And that was what I was so scared of. I knew I could do it. I knew I could. I just needed a little bit of help. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just need a little bit of help. Mm-hmm. Just getting over that first hump like I did. I was terrified.
Yeah. Help with the physical, because the mental they can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So I spent the 7 days there. I had no communication. I had 2 phone calls that 7 days. Came home, and
so tell me why 7 days.
They wanted me to stay for 30. I was in the peak of our busy season at the resort. I told them, I said, I can't be away for that long. I said, I just needed to come here for a few days. I needed help to get through that first few days. I'm good. You'll never see me back here again. I'm not drinking anymore. I don't want to drink anymore. Mm-hmm. And
you do realize they hear that all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I heard it several times from other people while I was there that
I'm
wanted to
sure.
get out early too.
Right.
But,
right. I got to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
But,
no, you're good.
And family members, we hear that too,
Yeah.
We probably made your family panic a little bit too as well.
Yeah.
So you left at 7 days.
I left at 7 days. They said, you can go, we want you to stay, and you can if you want to. I was like, nope, I'm out of here as soon as I can. And I was asking them, like, day 4, I'm like, when am I leaving out of here? Because after I knew I wasn't going to hallucinate, I'm like, I'm going. I'm good. I'm going home. I'm not drinking. Whatever. So I got home, and, I didn't want to advertise to nobody. I didn't want nobody to know that I had gone to rehab, a detox, whichever. Mm-hmm. I didn't want nobody to know that.
You didn't want anybody to know you had help.
Correct. Now, it's like I wanted to tell everybody, even though it's still looked down upon. It is. That's what saved my life.
You wanted to be able to tell others that you were serious this time. And you were taking the steps to do it.
Yep. And I thought that was it. And there still was people saying, yeah, okay, you quit drinking for how long this time? Mm-hmm. How long this time?
Doubters. Yeah.
I still have those people. I know they're out there, and I've almost been sober 5 years now. But that's okay.
So before we get too far, your story is rare that you can go to detox and then sustain your sobriety. And I'm amazed at that, because that's a rarity. So that says a little bit about your heart, that you were ready, and that every path to recovery. My theory is every path to recovery, because if there was only one path, we'd have a whole entire society that were healed. So I've always maintained whatever means necessary to get somebody into recovery for long-term, long-sustained recovery. I have not met anybody who went through detox one time and has maintained their sobriety. So I'm in awe of you, because that's rare. But that also says a lot about your tenacity, about your personality. You made your mind up. It was a long battle to get to that point, but you did make your mind up. So I know that there was a lot that has happened in your story that we need to fill in. You went to your 7 days, you came home, and you stepped back into work, and you're sharing with everybody what's going on. What's going on at that time?
Well, I knew that the woman I was with, my drinking buddy, you know, I I would like her to not drink as much.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
not much to ask.
I don't drink. You don't have to quit completely. You don't have a problem like I did. Do whatever you want to do. You can do it around me. I don't care. But don't as much. Well, it didn't go that way, so we parted ways.
Your sobriety had to be number one.
It had to be, because I knew I wasn't going to drink again. I knew if I did drink, all of that was nothing.
Right.
And you know, I let people down for too long, and I didn't want to let people down again. And I was tired of letting down people. You know, I let down hundreds of people, friends, family, people that cared about me. I mean, I missed a lot of very important things that I wish I would have been a part of now, because I chose to drink instead.
Yeah.
And I hate to say I regret things, but I missed a lot of important things.
Yeah.
That I wish I would have been there.
So that relationship came to an end.
Yep.
And then how much later did it take you that you entered another relationship?
I wasn't too long. I'd actually known my next girlfriend for a long time. Her and her brother, we were good friends, so I'd known her for quite a while. And we got together, and everything was great. I mean, we ended up getting married. We now have a son. His name's Dexter. He'll be 3 next month.
Pretty cool.
I take that back. I'm thinking this is April. He'll be 3 in May.
Okay.
So
I have both my boys were born in May, so May boys are kind of cool.
he's pretty cool.
Good.
So, and now he's my reason, my main number one, because I would never ever 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 want to see him or have him see me like that, because I hear in my head like, what's wrong with Daddy, and that would kill me.
Yeah.
So,
So talk to me about when you entered this relationship and you had to share that you're on a sobriety journey. How did you introduce that to your girlfriend at the time that became your wife?
Well, she knew. I mean, she's known me, like I said, for a long time. So she knew of the Eric at Bucksaw. That's what I was, Eric at Bucksaw, and hear stories about me.
So did you have to convince her you weren't that same Eric?
Yeah.
Or she was on board and was proud of you for that?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
I can't remember exactly how long I had been sober when, I felt that, and it kind of proved that I could do it this time. But yeah, I did. I feel like there was maybe a trial period, maybe.
Sure.
But yeah, she knew of me and heard stories, most of which weren't true. I mean, there was some stories that I'm not necessarily proud of, and there's a lot that weren't. And there's a lot of people that, like I said, doubters and want me to fail.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But we had our own rough patches, and we weren't necessarily seeing eye to eye right after he got born. A few months after, it was just we weren't getting along, and I'm choosing my sobriety again because it is my number one, which is number 2 next to Dexter. But I know I had to put myself above him for just a second.
Yeah.
And I was going to more meetings than I usually did, and I was just trying to insert myself into the community where I felt safe, because when I get into a hard spot, when I got stressed, I wanted to drink because that's what I knew would make it go away. So I didn't do that. I didn't drink, but I wasn't around where I should have been because I was putting my sobriety first. So me and her ended up getting a divorce. And that was just after.
So your sobriety became an issue that created tension in your marriage, or the process to maintain your sobriety became a point of tension between you. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because that's a tough balance, but it's kind of a no-brainer for the people who have really worked hard for their sobriety. Yeah.
It was the best decision, the only thing I could do. I felt like it probably wasn't the only thing I could do, but in my mind it's like you have to stay sober or you're going to lose them both.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a great relationship. I mean, we have built a house. My dad just built us a house. Well, I had been wanting him to build.
Did she understand the importance of you having to do all of the extra for your sobriety? Did she understand that was the key to your sobriety, was your support, your meetings, and your community that you need to have? Did she understand?
She did,
it?
and
Okay.
she was a big support, and she never got mad at me for going to a meeting. She never criticized me for being where I thought I had to be.
Okay, good.
But it just wasn't the right thing, I guess, for our relationship, and it just didn't. I felt if we didn't part ways when we did, and get the divorce and separate for a little bit, then I was going to lose them both forever. Not forever, but
right.
you know.
Understand. So for it to have a healthier relationship, you needed to have that separation.
And that was another thing that brought more shame, you know, and made it harder to try to stay sober again. Was now I've split up another marriage because of drinking, because of staying sober. Or, you know, back then I wasn't sober, but it was still drinking. So it was tough because I didn't want to put her through that. But, I mean, looking back now, it was the best decision because we're better parents. We're living together. We're raising Dexter together, which when we were separated, I mean, didn't like that. So, I mean, I feel like we had to go through that in order to be where we are now.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell me about being a dad.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah?
Yep. It is.
So how did it change your life? I mean, you're talking about the sobriety and staying in your recovery, managing a new family, and then the struggle that you guys are having, and the choices of going through a separation. How was that maintaining your sobriety while being engaged and being a dad during some of those really challenging times?
So, being a dad, it kind of replaced what I felt God took from me when he took my mom.
Gotcha.
And also on that flight home from Florida, I was able to sit there in a free, clear mind and forgive God for what he did, what I felt he did.
No, I understand it. I can relate to it.
And I was able to say, I forgive you for taking my mom.
Yeah.
And thanking him for giving me the strength to finally do something that I needed to do for a very, very long time.
So you leaned into your higher power.
Yeah. And then when I got Dexter, I felt that this was God saying, here you go.
Yeah.
So he has definitely given me the strength every single day to know for sure I'm not going to drink again. I mean, there's nothing, I don't feel like the hardest day is not going to make me drink again. And I want to.
You got a lot of blessings.
I don't want to because, I get curious. I'm thinking, what's one drink going to do? Nobody's going to know until I think, what's that going to look like tomorrow?
Right.
How many people are you going to let down when you can't just drink one?
Right.
Because if I drank and I went out and bought my pint of vodka like I would do every single day, I know how I drink that pint of vodka, and that's what I would do exactly today.
Isn't it crazy how the mind will take you back there?
Yeah.
Just get a little bit tired, a little bit over fatigued, and it'll take you right back there.
That's when I get bored.
Yeah. So for you, it's boredom.
Because when I was bored, back when I was drinking, I could drink, and I would hide it, and I could just sit. And I would drink. Now, if I get bored, my mind glitches back to,
Let's go get a drink.
let's go get a drink. Let's, go take a couple shots and go get on your lawnmower or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I used to do. So that still happens today, but then all I do is think, what's tomorrow going to look like? How many people would you let down?
Right. Yeah. The struggle of having to face yourself the next day. Yeah.
And for me, it wouldn't, I don't know if it'd even be myself that I would care about. It was all those people who have finally said he is doing it. I don't want to let down people anymore.
So put yourself in a few years from now, and you've got a young son, 15, 16, 17, and alcohol is going to be something that they step into as well. They're going to face it too. You think that your journey is going to make you feel differently about how you're going to manage that with your child?
I'm going to lock him up and not let him out. No. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but I'd say definitely if he knew who his dad used to be.
You think you'll share with him? You think you'll share this with him at some point?
I think eventually he should know that, I went through.
The reason why Dad doesn't drink?
Yeah, because, he'll know, and he'll ask, hey, we want to have a beer? No, not doing it.
Yeah.
Or Dad, hey, so-and-so, his dad let him have a beer.
Right.
How come you don't drink beer?
Right.
I'll get asked that, and that's fine. And, I think he needs to know, because if he can look at me and see what I've went through, and understand a little bit that it can take everything.
Yeah.
And it can also give you everything that you want if you don't have it.
Right. Exactly.
I think he'll know. Maybe he can watch this one day. And,
there you go.
And see what happened.
Watch your interview and see. I know that you do a lot of. You've appeared on, or you have spoken at some recovery programs. I know that you like to share your story. I actually was told your story by a friend of mine named Sherry, and you've sat down with her as well. What do you do now to maintain your sobriety? Are you actively going to any programs? Share with me what that looks like now.
So, I love Celebrate Recovery. They do it in Clinton Tuesday nights. I've shared my testimony on stage, which was second most nerve-wracking next to this.
You've been great.
But I like plugging into Celebrate Recovery because no matter who's there, you never know their story, but you just know, you see every different aspect, every different stage of recovery, from the person who's getting their 1 day coin to their 10-year, 15-year, or 20-year coin. So you see every step of the way, and I feel like it just takes one time for you to hear that one little thing that, I was there. If Eric can do it, I can do it. If John can do it, why can't I do it? So I do love Celebrate Recovery. Just for me, it's seeing the struggle in everyone else, that knowing that my story and people like me can help. So that's been big for me. I do AA. I try to go once a week, if not once a week, once every other week. I go to Harrisonville. The group has been great to me.
Great.
I try to plug in to online meetings. Joe, my friend that I met in rehab, he lives in New York, and I plug into an AA group there once in a while.
That's great. So you can still maintain that good relationship and do a meeting with them.
Yeah,
I love that.
I just try to remember, who I am, because once the second I start to feel like I'm like normal and I can go out and have a normal drink with somebody, it's the day that everything will go wrong. So those days where I'm bored or, I think everything's going right, but I'm bored. It's like I have to just kind of just sit down and remember what happened, what disease that I have, because it is a disease.
Yeah.
So I just try to stay involved.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it makes perfect sense. So when you go to a meeting, do you ever speak to somebody who's just new, really fresh? Do you feel like that's something you do is communicate with somebody who's early in recovery?
I try to, if I can, just because I know what they're going through, and I know also sometimes it's just the littlest amount of support from maybe the unexpected person can give you just enough.
Yep.
And I know that
you never know if you're the secret sauce, right?
You never know. And that's why if there is somebody new, I might share, hey, did a podcast with so-and-so, I did this, or it doesn't have to be me, but I'll just point to different outlets like, hey, hop on here and you might hear a story.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be my story.
Right.
Because there's thousands of stories. We all have basically the same destination, just like you said earlier, just different paths. There's no one that's ever going to be the same.
Right. Well, I think we're at the end of this podcast, and I like to ask guests in this second season, we've kind of started trying to do this. If your life was a movie, what would be the name of the movie? You have in mind what your life story would say?
Oh man, that's a pretty good question.
I shouldn't have just thrown it at you. Maybe I should have told
My
you to
life
think about
as
it.
a movie. Man, how about?
I mean, it can be any title. It doesn't have to be a movie that's out there, I don't think we want to call it Anaconda because you're going to give me nightmares over the.
I'm telling you, that was the worst thing ever.
I don't do snakes, so when you said that, I was like, "Oh, those would be rough."
That gives me chills just thinking about it a little bit. Gosh dang! I'd say He Didn't Quit.
He Didn't Quit. That's a good title. All right, I love that title. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so glad that Eric sat down with us. We really learned a lot about his story. Eric, are you on any social media that people can follow you on, or do you have?
I just have Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not too advanced enough to get on Twitter and everything else that we got going on. I just have Facebook.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
anybody can find me if they want.
But you can also go to, if you're in the area, go to Celebration Recovery in Clinton or in Harrisonville at the AA there as well.
Tuesday nights in Clinton at the First Baptist Church, 6:30. Love to have you. I'll save a seat for you.
There you go. You guys, thank you so much for joining us.